Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's edition of Maconi Setup Shop A Fix tutorial. This week we are looking at the Texas Motor Speedway, so strap in and let's get to it. A couple interesting theories with when it comes to shifting here. I do think regardless, given the fact that you're going to be in the draft and dirty air and all that stuff, um, I did the majority of these laps shifting into fifth gear down the back straightaway, running fifth through three and four, and then downshifting back to fourth for one and two. Uh, I do think, in a way, that you can run three and four in fourth gear, so you'd just be leaving it in fourth gear from the time you downshift into one, and then shifting as you exit four. I don't think it's any better, and as you can see on the lap times, my lap 6 and 7, I didn't shift into fifth gear at all down the back straightaway. And I have a couple of reasons for that. But I do think the difference between solo car, like if you're leading the race, I think it's a great thing to do. If you're in traffic and in dirty air, I don't know how much the dirty air is going to slow you down, but it might be a good enough option. And then I think for a long run, I think you're probably going to want to leave it in fourth, but you have to be careful about your right rear because the higher RPMs means you're going to be spinning your right rear more. It could get you loose, which is why I think fifth gear is better. Um, Obviously, it comes down to what you prefer and what you're comfortable with. But for the laps that I did here, I find fifth gear to just be a lot more consistent and should be easier on the tires. The problem is with dirty air, if you get bogged down, trying to reaccelerate in fifth gear sucks, right? So it's kind of a toss-up. I think it all depends on the corner speed in 3 and 4. As you can see here in solo car, I'm full lifting to get into the corner, and if you don't, the car doesn't set properly, and then you just plow. Okay, even as a leader, being in clean air and all that stuff, I think it's a great thing just to lift off the throttle 100%, let the nose set, let the downforce do its thing, and then start building the throttle. The best part about 3 and 4, especially if you're in traffic, is you don't need to be full throttle, right? In order to make speed, the draft is going to play a big factor. Okay, even when we run the road to pro stuff and we're in the trucks, or I've seen the pro guys do when they raced here in the Xfinity car, even the leader, nobody's really full throttle, even as the leader. Okay, you save a little bit of fuel that way, you save tire, and everybody's doing it. You're going to have guys that want to run full throttle early in a run, and that's fine. They're more than likely going to burn their stuff up, though, so just keep that in mind. Another thing, too, is 3 and 4 is more of a feel corner. Like, you can feel the grip, so whenever you feel like you're ready to get full throttle, that's on you. I personally like getting full throttle as I feel like I'm coming up the hill. Now, for 1 and 2, this is a corner that I lift really, really early for, and there's a couple of ways that you can get through 1 and 2. In traffic, I prefer a shallower entry so that I can get to the white line as soon as I can. Clean air on the left front is the biggest reason. I try to keep my left front lower than whoever's in front of me. If you've got a gap, the arc isn't a bad thing because you can carry more center speed. You just use a little more right front. Okay, so just something to be careful about. Another thing real quick too is as you come through the corner here, this patch, and we're going to see that patch in the in-car, that's a really good reference point to either get back on the gas or really build the throttle to get your exit, depending on the state of the tires, the state of the run or whatever you want to call it. Early run, as you're coming down the hill, once you get to it, it's a great place to be like, oh, I really need to get on the gas. And again, I don't really have a whole lot of on-track visuals. I'm more of a feel person, but this is something I find that can really help you. As you can see, even through these laps here in the external view, you can see every time once I get to that patch, I'm building the throttle, or like I'm starting to get back on the gas. Okay, if you're in traffic and you got a lot of guys around you or whatever, and it's hard to see, anytime you see that patch, that's kind of like your go zone. And the other thing too, like I said, is I like to keep it underneath whoever's in front of me as long as I can, right? Getting the turn, like if the roles are reversed, it's still a great thing because the more dirty air you feed onto the guy behind you, the tighter they're going to be. Okay, and especially in 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is the corner that really gets affected by dirty air. So again, if you have a comfortable gap I like the arc better because you can run more corner speed, make a little bit better lap time. I don't know what I did on my lap 9. I think I just baby turn 1 a little bit. I know that time is way off, and even running it back now, I don't really remember exactly what I did. I think I just braked a little too much or let off sooner than I had been getting into 1 and slowed down way too much on entry because the rest of the lap was pretty good. Um, I'm not really sure what happened there, but you guys get the gist. The whole pit road deal, this is something new that I'm trying to incorporate. Somebody mentioned it, and I thought it was a great idea. Again, one thing to know, like, I'm pitting on 10 lap old tires, right? Uh, take that for what it's worth. I'm not going to go do a 45, 50 lap run and then try to pit. But that's a general reference there. Just trying to keep it as low as I can once I get on the brakes, downshifting and all that fun stuff. Uh, Making sure the car's under control. I try to do, even though you're in a corner, I try to do all my braking in the straightest line possible, so I don't want to have a ton of wheel input as I'm trying to get to pit road, right? Because then I'm going to start locking tires up when I get on the brakes. This lap was a demonstration of just running 4th gear. As you can see, just a lot of RPM. You know, I don't really think it's necessary. I think if you're deep into a run and the lap times slow down considerably, that's when you would consider running 4th gear. But at that point, if you're wearing tight, I would be doing it. More RPM, try to loosen the car up, free it up, get the balance back to neutral. If you're already loose though, 4th gear is not the answer. Okay, 4th gear through 3 and 4 is not going to help you. You're just going to spin the heck out of the right rear, and you're going to get even looser and amplify that problem. Okay, Texas is a... People had mixed opinions about Texas. Some like it, some don't. I'm not a huge fan of the repave or this configuration. With that said, I have had some success here in the races that I've done. I'm just not a fan of it, but this is how I like to get around here. And I think the biggest thing is just trying to keep my nose in as much clean air as possible and fighting to be lower than the guy that's in front of me. That's basically how I've gotten around here for the last couple of years. Okay, guys. Just a couple quick things to go over. Like I said, I like to be as low as I can around this place. As I was watching that silent lap, I realized when it comes to exiting turn 2, um, yes, I want to be low, but I don't want to be following this white line all the way around, right? I feel like what I'm doing, the car kind of comes up naturally. This is obviously me getting ready to come in pit, so that's exaggerating a low exit. Okay, I don't want to fight the car on exit of 2. Okay, I don't want to be fighting it. If the car wants to come up naturally, um, as long as you're not making a beeline for the wall, that's fine. Let the car do its thing. If you find that you are getting tight though on exit of 2, back up your where you're picking up the throttle. Okay, don't be cranking a ton of wheel into it. All right, by doing that, you're just going to amplify the problem and make it worse. Okay, let the car do its thing off of 2, and then getting into 3, again, traffic's going to vary how it feels, but in this car, really with everything, trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup car, you want that blip. Even if the car can handle going through 3 and 4 wide open because it's gripped up, that's great. That's awesome for qualifying, but you're going to melt your tires during the race. Okay, in race conditions, when you're trying to go 40, 50 laps or whatever you're going to be going, lift into 3, at least burp it. You don't want to be going in there wide open, cranking a ton of wheel. Okay, even if you can hold the bottom, you're going to feel great, but by lap 15, you're going to be watching everybody else drive by you wondering, what the heck did I do wrong? Okay, little things like that to try to preserve the tires around this place. Okay, guys, I believe I covered everything that I wanted to go over. As always, if there's something I may have missed or you want to discuss or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I check these throughout the week. Try to interact as much as I can. If you find that this video was helpful, please consider leaving a like. And as always, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can see these videos every Monday when they're posted on the Maconi YouTube page. Okay, guys, best of luck this week, and we'll see you on the track.